Well, good morning. Good morning. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Such a privilege. I don't know if I can motivate you any more than BJ did already, but appreciate those good words that he gave us. But I will do my best to encourage you in regards to evangelism. Let me start with a question. What are you doing to reach the lost? What are you doing right now? I know as congregations you may be involved in various mission works, but what about you individually? What are you doing to reach your friends and your neighbors and your coworkers with the gospel? If you're like me, you'd like to be doing better. Raise your hand if you'd like to be doing better. I think BJ had us do that, right? That's why we're here. That's why we're here this week. We want to be more involved in reaching our friends and neighbors and coworkers with the gospel. But how do we do that? You may not realize it, but you are some of the most powerful people in the world. We have the greatest access to the Word of God anyone has ever had. We have the greatest physical blessings that kings of the past could wish to have. I think Don Blackwell has on one of his videos, globalrichlist.com, and you will see that around the $30,000 a year mark, if you make around $30,000 a year, you are in the richest 1% of the entire world. That gives us a great responsibility, doesn't it? We need to do, as Jesus said, go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. And I love what Billy Bland said about this. He said the problem with that is there are a lot of creatures out there. Now this row right over here, the Hurley Church of Christ, has already heard this presentation, and one of them has heard it twice. So I'm going to ask as a courtesy you laugh at my jokes. Just kidding. But anyway, there are 7.6 billion people in the world today, or as Brother Aaron over there said 7.7, and Brother Clark said almost 8. There are a lot of people in the world today. That number is growing by 80 million souls every single year. That's another United States every 4 years. How are we going to reach that ever-growing population? We're going to have to get creative, aren't we? We're going to have to use these tools that we have at our disposal, the ones that we've talked about here already this week, and we're going to have to get creative in our own evangelism in the way that we use these materials. Now, listen, I am here to promote World Video Bible School materials. I think they are some of the greatest in the brotherhood, but if you already have a method, use it. If you already have a method that is working for you, please just get to work and do something, and that's really the goal. The goal is for us to get excited, get involved in evangelistic work in some way. The purpose of World Video Bible School has always been to provide sound Bible study material as inexpensively as possible to reach as many souls as possible. I think as you'll see as we go through here that we have a lot of this material absolutely free online. And that's been the point all along. The internet has been an amazing tool. Satan has used it for his purposes for sure, but I believe God has given it to us to use for this purpose to spread the gospel. And so we are certainly going to use it. Well, let me introduce some of the programs that maybe some of you are already familiar with, but we'll go through some of these. Certainly I'm not going to be able to tell you everything that we have available there at World Video Bible School, but I'll talk about some of the highlights and maybe some things, again, that you're already familiar with. Searching for Truth. How many are familiar with Searching for Truth? Lots of you are. If you're not, maybe you're familiar with the old Jewel Miller film strips. Searching for Truth was designed with the same idea in mind to teach somebody everything they need to know to become a Christian, using today's technology, today's resources. If you took a Jewel Miller film strip into somebody's house today, they probably would think you were insane with the reel and all that stuff. I don't know. But anyway, Searching for Truth. Of course, Searching for Truth is like 13 years old now, and so it's almost getting to the point where we need to replace this with maybe even a newer HD type of program or whatever's next as far as that goes. Here was a guy, I presented this presentation in Minnesota in April of last year, and one of the ladies in the congregation got one of the Searching for Truth that I left with them, and she said, we have been trying to reach our neighbor for years. And finally, they took this program over to him, and he watched it, and he said, everything makes perfect sense. And as you can see, he was baptized, and now they are ministering to his family now that I believe he has passed away now. But one more soul saved because there were people in the congregation who used the material at their disposal. Listen, friends, I've given this presentation to congregations, and their elders or their preacher will come up to me and say, I think we have a whole box of your material in the library. Friends, it does no good. It does no good sitting on the shelf. We've got to pick it up. We've got to use it. These DVDs are priced in a way where you can just give them out as candy. They're like $1 a piece if you buy them in bulk, and that's the point. Or you can have them for free, so online. But anyway, searching for truth. What must I do to be saved? Is there a more important question we could ever ask? The devil has been very successful in getting people to believe the wrong answer about this question right here. You do a Google search about what must I do to be saved, you will get all kinds of garbage. False teaching. You may not realize, but when somebody is physically drowning, they don't often announce it. It's not like what we see on the movies where they're flailing their arms and yelling and screaming for help. Oftentimes they're very silent. They look calm, really, and they don't even know they're in trouble until it's too late. And that's the way it is with somebody who's spiritually drowning. They're not going to come tell you. They're not going to come up to you on the street and say, hey, BJ, I'm lost. I need your help. Has that ever happened to you? Never happened to me either. We've got to go out and find them. We've got to go out and reach out to the lost community in any way that we possibly can. We received a quote from Mzimba, Malawi, and they said, we would like to inform that at the last year our activities were done well. While 442 souls were baptized, 243 restored, 1 new church started. Therefore, all things were done well because of your WBBS support. That's 685 souls that wouldn't be saved if it weren't for, first of all, those helping us produce the material. Can't discount that, but also those using the material. I know that's a foreign country. I know that's a poorer country. I know the gospel seemingly spreads farther and faster in poorer countries because of their situation. They're poor, they're looking for something, but I also believe, and I've seen firsthand, that they work a lot harder than we do when it comes to evangelism. They really do. They are more on fire for the Lord than we are. And we've got to do something about that because there are people in this country who need the truth. And we have the truth. And we've got to give it to them. Why are there so many churches? Another popular program. Good question, isn't it? Why are there so many churches? Ben Stein said one time, questions not answered well will not go away. I think that's true. If we don't answer this question well, it's not going to go away. Probably not going to go away anyways. But we've got to give people the opportunity. There are 38,000 different denominations in the world today. Does the true church of Jesus Christ exist? We know that it does. And so we have this tool that can help 38 minutes of a lesson to show why there are so many churches and why the church of Christ has always existed. By the way, I have a table in wherever it is, that room out there, and with all the other tables, and all the material on there is free. So please, take it. I'm going to leave it with this congregation anyway, so it will be available to those of you who are members here, but it is absolutely free, so please pick it up. And I think there's a lot of other material from other people out there too, so that is free. Returning to Truth. Here's another popular program. I think in all of the congregations that are represented here, there are members who have fallen away, and we want them back. We love them. I don't know how many times somebody's come up to me and said, Bryan, I think my cousin, when I was preaching in Indiana, she came up to me and said, Bryan, I would have come back a lot sooner, but, you know, I was just embarrassed. I thought people were going to look down on me because I hadn't been here in a while. We know that's not true. We love them. We want them back. But they don't know that. And they start feeling guilty and things like that. And maybe this is what they need. Just you to send a DVD to them in the mail or maybe just take it to their house and watch it with them just to show you, say, hey, I love you. I want you to come back. The Lord wants you to come back. And so there's a good program for that. By the way, there's a story from Zimbabwe of a preacher who got on a bus and he asked if he could play the Why Are There So Many Churches DVD. And to make a long story short, 22 people were baptized and 2 congregations were started, all because he played a DVD on a bus. Friends, sometimes that's all it takes. And I've heard story after story this week of those who are right on the cusp of obeying the gospel, and they just need somebody to push them over the edge by teaching them or just showing an interest. That's sometimes all it takes. And so we've got to get to work. Here's a quote from the Nandigama Church of Christ in India. With your partnership, prayers, and encouragement, our God continues to open doors beyond human imagination for the church here. Through all these factors, the number of converts has reached to 1,000. There are so many good works going on in the world today. There are so many active Christians really evangelizing. Are you one of them? I heard it said one time, evangelism is not something we do once in a while. It's something we do all day, every day. And it's a mindset, isn't it? It's a mindset. Everybody I talk to, the cashier at the grocery store, it's my friend that I'm talking to on the phone, it's my family member that I'm sitting across from, that's a soul. They need to hear the gospel. And I am ashamed. Friends, I am literally ashamed to think about those that I come into contact with on a regular basis that I've never talked to about Christ. Do you have those people in your life that you've never? I want you to make it a point to go and talk to some of them this week. Give them an opportunity to obey the gospel by just talking to, giving them a DVD. I mean, we have made it so easy in today's society. Where do you go when we die? This is by far one of our most popular programs. Don Blackwell in this lesson talks about the truth about heaven, the truth about hell, the truth about where do we go when we die. It also includes the What Must I Do to Be Saved program. I want you to imagine something with me. I want you to imagine 3,000 people lined up at the door every single day to ask your preacher this question. Where do I go when I die? That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Well, I say 3,000 because every single day this program gets viewed online 3,000 times. Friends, people are interested in spiritual things. I know in this country it seems like they're not, but they are. There are people interested in spiritual things. There was a young lady who almost died in a car accident a couple of years ago, and she was in the recovery room, and she was wondering, well, what would have happened to me if I would have died? And she began asking her friends and family, and she wasn't getting any answers that she really thought were correct. And so she looked online, and she found this program. She said, that's it. That's what would have happened to me if I would have died. Unfortunately, I mean, she would have been lost. And so she began searching some more, and she found the Why Are There So Many Churches program and watched that at 3 o'clock in the morning. And she called our offices at 8 o'clock in the morning to put her in contact with a church in Georgia where she's from. People are searching. Sometimes it takes dire circumstances like that. It did in my life too, to get me to obey the gospel. But what if that program wasn't there? What would she have found? She would have found some denominational video or something. We've got to make sure this material is available and in front of as many people as we possibly can. Here is one of our newest programs, Church Growth. Talks about the godly traits from 2 Peter chapter 1. Add to your faith virtue, knowledge, self-control, and on we could go there. It also includes a lesson about, are you stealing God's money? These are lessons, friends, that we must take to heart. It's a really good program that I would encourage you to watch. The truth about moral issues. Does anybody think we have a problem with morals in this country? Does anybody think we don't have a problem with morals in this country? We've got a serious problem. Every billboard, on every commercial, on every advertisement, one of these things is going on. I mean, one of these sins. We've got to teach our young people about these things. We've got to understand what the Bible says about these and understand these very serious issues today. Islam, the Quran, and Christianity. Islam, no doubt, is becoming one of the most influential, or at least more and more influential religions in the world today. According to a Pew study almost 4 years ago now, I need to update that, approximately 24% of the world was Muslim. 24%. That's 1.8 billion Muslims in the world today. Not every Muslim is a terrorist. Not all of them want to blow us up, but every single one of them is a lost soul that needs saved. And so here is a program that can maybe help you understand where they're coming from a little bit, and also how you might reach them a little bit better. The Apocrypha. Here's one of our newer programs as well. What books really belong in the Bible? Is there really a such thing as the lost books of the Bible? Paul said all Scripture is given by the inspiration of God. Well, what books are Scripture, right? That's a good question. People have that question. Why do the Catholics have those extra books in their Bible? And so this program deals with that topic right there. Very good program there. Proof for God. Is the Bible God's inspired word? What evidence is there in regards to that? You know, I think oftentimes in the Lord's church today, we don't have a problem telling somebody why we don't use instruments in worship, or why we immerse for baptism. We don't have a problem. Most of us could probably refute that with Scripture. But when it comes to why we believe the Bible when it says those things, oftentimes we draw a blank because we've just not had to do that historically in this country. But now we are having to do it more and more. And here's a great program by Kyle Butt. A matter of fact, in the first 3 months of placing this online, it received 500,000 views. Very, very popular program, very, very good material that you need to watch and I need to watch. Christ-centered home. Mike Vestal here talks about a Christ-centered marriage and a Christ-centered family. The devil is somebody who hates you, and he wants to ruin your life, and he knows what we know. He knows that the family is the very fabric of our society, and if he can get his foothold in there, he can probably ruin your faith too. And so here's a really good program that Mike Vestal talks about, a Christ-centered marriage, a Christ-centered family. Another new program that we have, Judgment Day. Gary Massey is an attorney, and he's also a gospel preacher in Chattanooga, and he looks at this idea of Judgment Day, Jesus as our attorney from a legal perspective, and really it's an awesome thought. Jesus as our attorney, Jesus as somebody who is going to speak for us. He's our advocate, and he's also our judge. Could you have it any better? We really have it pretty good, don't we? And it's really good program there. The second lesson in it, Christians and government, no doubt a needed topic. I hope, again, I'm just scratching the surface of what's available. Please get a catalog. Go online, wvbs.org, and look at some of this material that you can use at your fingertips. But I hope you're thinking about how you might use this in your evangelism and in your own evangelistic or in your own edification efforts. But let me tell you how some people have used this material, how we've used the material, and just give you some ideas. Maybe you have some better ideas. If you do, great, let me know. But number one, display it in a church foyer. I've been to congregations where the foyer is just beautiful. I mean, it's just beautiful, really beautiful foyer. Flowers and all kinds of stuff, but no material. And that's just kind of bizarre to me. I mean, yeah, it's pretty, but friends, where's the material? Where's the truth? What if a visitor comes in? How are they going to have any more than you need to give them something? Anyways, so here is a way, please display this material in the foyer so members and visitors can take this material home. You'd be surprised at the elders and preachers who are not familiar with the resources available to them. Also shut-ins, if you have shut-ins in congregations. This is a great way for them to still continually be edified even though they're stuck at home. Display them in businesses. Put this stuff everywhere. Put the DVDs. You know, I was in the library with my daughters a few months ago, and there were some Jehovah's Witness tracts on the table, and so I did what any good Christian would do. I threw those away, and I put some of our material there. So that sounds like the right thing to do. Anyway, there could be a soul in heaven because of that. You never know. We've got to get the material, though, in front of people. One guy even bought realtor display boxes, as you can see there, and put those around town. We've got to get creative. We've got to find different ways to reach people. Community events, trade shows. You might be surprised a lot of Walmarts will allow you to put out a table. If you do, I would recommend you put 3 big, bold words: free religious DVDs. Number 1, if you don't like free stuff, raise your hand. Number 2, it's religious. You're either interested or you're not. And number 3, it's a DVD. It's got maybe a little bit more value than a piece of paper, a tract or something like that to them. So free religious DVDs, you might get the best bang for your buck there or whatever. Door knocking. Is that what door knocking seems to be like? No. I put that on there just to see if you're awake anyways. But, you know, door knocking does still work. The people who say door knocking doesn't work are usually the people doing nothing. But maybe there's another way, as well as door knocking, that we could evangelize today. And I thought Aaron did a fantastic job talking about the social media aspect. And so something that I have done in the past is I've taken like 7 Facebook friends a week. And I've sent them a message. Hey, do you know where you're going when you die? Would you like some information about that? And then I'll just attach the video from our video website. And I've done my job. What's my job? Sow the seed. What's God's job? Provide the increase. If you have Facebook, you probably have at least 100 friends. And so there's 100 people at your fingertips that you could evangelize. Have you done that? Have I done that? The point is, we need to be creative. We need to get out there and do everything we possibly can. And Facebook and other social media, email, any other outlet like that can really increase the amount of work we can do. One of the things that I've that I heard and I really think makes a lot of sense. Something that congregations are lacking is a working model of somebody actually evangelizing. Is that true? Members are looking around for somebody they can emulate. Yeah, they should look to the Bible, as we all should. But they're looking around for somebody in the congregation that is actually evangelizing and actually converting souls. But we just don't have that. Nobody's doing it. And so, could you be that example? Could you be that working model of somebody actually working in the kingdom to try to save souls? We have people using this material in prison works. As a matter of fact, we send through one of our programs free material to prison works throughout the United States. So if you have prison ministry, we can send that material free to you and to those works. David Atnip Sr. has a prison ministry in Georgia. He baptized 41 men in October of last year. He's only allowed to baptize once a year, but I'd say 41 in any congregation is pretty good. A lot of work being done in the prison ministries. By the way, I was listening to a presentation from the gospel advocate Greg Tidwell last year, and he said that in that presentation, he said that 80% of prisoners who will embrace religion while they're in prison will embrace Islam. 80%. If they're going to embrace religion, it'll be Islam. That's scary. You're giving a violent criminal a violent religion. That's not all criminals are violent, but anyway, that's a scary statistic. We've got to get the truth in there. What about family Bible studies? How would your family benefit from 30 minutes a night? And by the way, this is something our family is doing. We're reading what we have, an interactive Bible study. You can download it from our website, and it's just through the Bible reading throughout the year, whatever. And it has a video that corresponds to some, not every single day, to some of the readings. And so you read the text, and then you watch a video that is related to that text. And so that is something we're doing. And could you just imagine, just you individually, how your faith might benefit for just watching one of these videos tonight? I know you're tired, you get home from work, you don't feel like studying. Well, you don't have to prepare anything. You just read and you watch the videos. We have it available on Roku as well, and a lot of our materials on YouTube as well. So lots of avenues to use the material. A lot of mission works are using this material. This lady is in Guyana, South America, using one of our full-color posters. We have 8 full-color posters, a lot of Bible teaching at a glance, and so you'll want to check some of those out. By the way, WBS started on a mission trip. Rudy Kane was, I think, on the mission field in India, and he was in one of those dugout canoes going down a river, and he looked over and saw a guy in a mud hut watching TV. And that was back in like 1980 something. And I thought, man, if he's watching TV out here, I can get him the gospel. And that's what he did. And so it started in his garage, and now it's gone a lot farther than that. Speaking of mission works, I already told you about the fund that we use to give to prison works. Well, we also use this fund to give to poorer countries, brethren in poorer countries. And so far this year, we have given to 37 different countries, sent material to 37 different countries. This particular one, Ghana, in Accra, Ghana, we've been sending the material since February of 2014. And I guess this was last year. By the grace of God, the Lord added to His church 11,246 souls who have been baptized into Christ for the remission of their sins, and we're still going around all parts of Ghana spreading the good news of Christ. Now, I've never heard numbers like that before, and maybe he added a 1 on accident or something. I don't know. He's my brother. I'm gonna take him at his word. But what this does tell me is that there are people working in the kingdom, and there are people obeying the gospel. There are people interested in spiritual things when somebody presents it to them. And we've got to do that right here in this country as well. Let me tell you about a few more programs, and then I'll get into the online stuff with the 10 or 11 minutes that I have left. Angels. We have a course on angels. No doubt a very misunderstood topic today, right? Do we have guardian angels? Do angels really exist? What do they really do? Travis Quartermas does a great job talking about that in this program. Providence of God. Chuck Horner does a great job talking about this idea, and he covers the whole spectrum of miraculous and non-miraculous, as he calls it, providence. kind of gives you an idea where he goes with that idea. Qualification of elders, premarital counseling. These are two of our newer programs. Very much needed topics today as well. I do want to mention this one for a moment. How many of you have seen the Personal Evangelism Seminar by Rob Whitaker? You've got to watch that seminar. It's awesome. It will fire you up about evangelism. If you have been encouraged this week, you will be even more encouraged by watching this program. I brought, I think, 3 or 4 of those for free back there, so please pick it up. Watch it as a congregation. It will seriously fire you up. He has got so much zeal and passion. He uses the Back to the Bible booklets by Bobby Bates, and it is a proven method. I think he told me that about 98% of the time, if he gets somebody to sit down across the table from him and have a Bible study, they will obey the gospel. And I'm Facebook friends with him, and when he was preaching, well, now he's doing the seminar full-time for house to house, but he was baptizing somebody like every other week. It was amazing. I still think the best way to evangelize is to sit across the table, open a Bible, and study the Bible. But when was the last time you did that with somebody? For most of us, most general members, it's probably been a very long time, if ever. And so that's why we have these tools to help us. By the way, after watching this seminar live in Georgia, my dad and his girlfriend came to visit us from Indiana to Texas. And listening to this seminar fired me up about it and gave me the courage to ask them to study the Bible again. And this time they accepted. And I've been praying for my dad for years and years. And they both obeyed the gospel. They were living in sin at the time. They were living together, unmarried. And I was able to marry them, officiate their wedding. And now they attend gospel meetings. And now they're growing. And it's just awesome. Power of the gospel. This program will fire you up about evangelism. I highly encourage that program. Bible Land Passages, we sent a group of men to about 30 different locations in the Bible lands. They talk about history, archaeology, geography of the area, how it relates to the Bible. We're still working on that program. We've got about 11 passages done right now. One of the DVDs is out. It's out there too. Available for free. This is all available online for free as well, though, which we'll talk about here in a minute. So good program there. We also have a 2-hour movie called Bound, a faith-based movie, and about a young lady who loses her way. A family takes her in, shows her there's still hope, teaches her the gospel, and we've had over 100 reports of conversions from those using this as an evangelism tool. Maybe somebody doesn't want to watch Searching for Truth. They don't want to watch an informational DVD, but they'll watch a movie. Again, getting creative, finding different ways to put the material in front of people. We have women's studies as well. These are taught by women, specifically designed for women, good for ladies' days, ladies' Bible classes, personal study. This particular one by Becky Blackman, Where is the Time Gone? What does God want me to be doing with my time? Evangelism books, you've probably heard of Muscle and a Shovel. Transformed is designed the same idea. Lance Mosher, he's a missionary in New Zealand. He tells his story about how he was converted. We again have had lots of reports of conversions from this. Let me kind of get through some of these as my time's running short. But Men in the Making, if you have teenage boys in your congregation or in your home, you've got to have this book. Kyle Button and his brother and their friend do a great job talking about this subject. 13 lessons, good for a quarter in a Bible class or something. Your teenage boys are learning all kinds of junk in school about what it is to be a man. And they talk very practical book, real life lessons that they give from them growing up and what God says it is to be a man. Really, really good stuff there. One Nation Under God, and we also have some faith-based fiction if you're interested in that. This is one of our newest books in regards to that novel type of books there. We have some foreign languages in some languages, in some programs in some different languages. American Sign Language, we have a lot of stuff in American Sign Language. Swahili, Korean, Mandarin, Chinese, Russian, Spanish, Telugu, Tamil. Can't think of any other ones that we have right off the bat. I think some guy just translated the Where Do We Go When We Die program into German. And we're continuing to look for more ways to, more languages to get this material in to reach even farther. but you have to get a catalog if you're interested in some of that. All right, well, with the last 6 minutes, let me tell you about the video resources, because over half the world now has online access. And that's exciting. Never before in the history of the world have we been able to record a program, put it online, and instantly reach over half the world. That's awesome. So our video website has over 1,000 free videos on it. Almost everything that I mentioned here today, almost, is online for free. And that's the point. Please, please, please use it. Put it on your Facebook page. Put it on your church website. Go to the website and actually view the programs. That's what it's there for. Lots and lots of good material there. The 1,000 free videos doesn't even include the online school, which we're going to talk about here in a second. But one of my favorite things to do is use these business-sized cards. I carry them around with me all the time. Right here we have a Christian gift card, which is kind of our new little catchy thing. And somebody will pick up if it says gift card, right? There must be money on that. But anyway, they'll pick it up, and on the back is the video website. Or we've got some of these other programs, and on the back of there's the QR code, if you know what that is. And it takes them directly to that program's website. And I give these out like candy. I put them everywhere. I put them in the Gideon Bible in my hotel room, just put some there today. Put them at the breakfast little area at the hotel. I give them to cashiers. I'll walk out of the convenience store or something with my daughter, and she'll say, "Daddy, we forgot to give them a card." And isn't that awesome? Because we're trying to teach our young people to evangelize. That's the problem, because a generation didn't teach their young people to evangelize. I think that's a problem every generation. We forget to teach our young people how to evangelize. They are not seeing a working model, and they need to see us doing it. And my 7-year-old does need to know what it means. That she might not know exactly what it means. Well, I don't know why we're giving them cards, but she'll see Daddy was doing it. Daddy was evangelizing, and I'm not lifting myself up in any way, because I've not been the greatest at evangelizing historically. But we've got to get to work. And here is a very, very, very simple way to do it. You can buy 500 of these for like $35. Very inexpensive. You can customize them. We'll send you the PDF. You can order them yourself. Again, just to get the message out. School.wvbs.org. We have a free online. As a matter of fact, wait a second. I want to go back 1 second. I want to challenge every single one of you, because we've got free cards in the, whatever that is, the room. I want to challenge every single one of you to pass out one card today to somebody. Can you do that? Raise your hand if you don't know how to pass out a card. If you do not have the physical capability to pass out a card. All of us do. And so pass out one card today. Go get yourself a card and pass it out. I think we all can do that. School.wvbs.org. Free online Bible school began in 2014. We have about 12,000 students right now. That is active students. Every year we go through and we filter out the ones who have not been active in a year. And so we still have about 12,000 active students from 168 countries around the world. By the way, there's about 195 countries in the world, so we are almost covering the entire world with this online school. We are reaching countries that would definitely, probably not anyways, get a missionary, some Muslim countries, places like Iraq, and places that you just wouldn't think would have anybody that wants to study the Bible. But they are, and it's awesome. And so very, very good work going on here. It covers every book of the Bible. It's not just for preachers. It's not just for Bible teachers. For anybody. You don't have to sign up as a formal student where you take tests. You can, and you can get a diploma at the end. But you can sign up as an auditing student and just have access to the videos. So it's a wonderful, wonderful resource. Just get on there and sign up, and you can just have access to all of those. We do have some 100 new students added weekly. And here's maybe the most exciting part. 2/3 of those are not yet Christians. So that's 8,000 people studying the Bible who are not yet Christians. And so that's a wonderful thing. We have some teaching notes that go along with it. If I were you and you wanted those, I would get the USB thumb drive, a whole lot cheaper. 19,000 pages of notes, charts, and things like that on that thumb drive. Goes on sale half price twice a year, FYI. So you'll want to sign up for our newsletter too, so that you'll get that information. I've learned more about Genesis in 3 hours than in 14 years as a Baptist minister. Thought that was interesting. Thought you might enjoy that quote. But let me tell you about one more thing in the 1 minute that I have left. William Chin was a missionary in Taiwan. He and his wife have moved to Texas to translate all of the English school material into Chinese. That's exciting. There are 335 million people who speak English as their native language. There is 1.2 billion people who speak Chinese. And we have had great success already in the programs that are already translated into Chinese. And with the school being so successful, we know this is going to be an amazing tool for the Lord. Let me close with this. First of all, what are you doing to reach the lost? I need to change that slide because I like to end with this. How many souls have you impacted for Christ? How many souls have you converted this month? Think about that. How many souls have you impacted for Christ this year? How about ever? How long have you been a Christian? How many souls have you converted in your time as a Christian? That is an extremely humbling thought for some of us. I'm talking to myself too. We need to get off our lazy bottoms and get to work. And again, I'm talking to me too. But I'm the visiting preacher, so I can say stuff like that, right? I appreciate your time. I hope you've been encouraged, and I hope you will use some of these resources in your evangelism and edification. Thank you.